now welcome Ahdab Badr, digital media consultant, who's discussing today the human effect of social media advertising, a two-way communication, and how you can use your audience as an open 24/7 focus group.
Hi everyone, أنا أهداب. I'm very excited to be here today. This topic is very, very interesting for me. Throughout the years, I have seen incredible results that happen with social media and real estate and digital advertising in general with real estate. And I'm here today to share with you some of those tips and to just talk a little bit more about how digital advertising can help you with your real estate campaigns and how you can increase your sales, how you can increase your brand awareness, and most of all, like association as well. When I'm thinking about a home, or if I'm thinking about, a place that I want to be living in, this is the place. Your brand would be one of those places that I would recall immediately when I have this state of mind. But before we talk about that in specific, there are some evolutions that have happened on digital throughout the past years. And I think at this point, it's really important for us to ride on the same wave that is available online and ride on the same wave that the consumers are in right now and how they are savvy and tech. And even the older generation are really getting into the whole digital scene, especially with what's happening right now with the pandemic and people being locked at home and having online actually the only source of medium of communication and getting things done. So with that being said, usually what we see in digital advertising is that we're still using the same norms of traditional advertising, TV and billboards and so on and so forth. And the difference between these two is that there is no longer a one-way communication. There's no longer a B2C or a B2B communication. It's now what they have been calling human-to-human communication. And that means that when I am online and when I have an online presence and a platform, consumers and users now know that the person that is talking to me or the communication that is happening is through a person. And so you'd find them a lot talking to the admin specifically, or talking to the brand as if, it's a human being and they have all of these comments that they want to tell them. And it becomes more of like a 24/7 focus group for us. And it becomes a very close communication and a more intimate relationship that happens with the consumer rather than it being a billboard or an ad on TV where people are just seeing the advertising and there is no further communication. There isn't that channel where I can convey and showcase how I feel about what I'm seeing in the ad or in the post or as a brand, image or equity. And we see this directly online, especially with the brand equity and especially with how people are perceiving the brand. It's seen immediately. And so there are a lot of things that we can make use of because of that. And I guess, as you have seen before, real estate was not available in the advertising realm during Ramadan, but now we see that it is actually showing a lot of conversions and it's showing a lot of traction for everyone. Really, this is a state that everyone is very high on their shopping and investments, and it integrates everything from banking to real estate to FMCG and so on and so forth. So the one thing that I really want to emphasize on is the evolution that has happened from the traditional advertising to digital. And even though we are now in 2020 and digital has really taken over the space and has taken over every person's life, there are still some advertising tricks and advertising tactics that have not been implemented yet in Egypt with the biggest potential of consumers. And one of them is that having a digitally savvy brand as well. And this is a very important topic to talk about. A digitally savvy brand means that when a consumer is searching for me on Google search, I have to be present. I have to be present between my competition. I have to be present with all the keywords that might be relevant to the consumer in that state of mind. And I have to have a website that allows a consumer to navigate or a user to navigate seamlessly and very easily. And when they are in that impulsive state, whether it was that they have already done their research or they're just going in and checking out what is going on our website, there is this impulse that we want to capture very quickly, and we want them to take an action before they go back and start thinking about all the options that they might have. And so for this to happen, we have to have a website that tailors for that impulsiveness and for that consumer behavior and this navigation behavior really that we see a lot online. On social media, it's the same thing. We have a lot of tools and we have a lot of targeting matrices that are available. And yet we are still talking about the Facebook fans and the followers online. And I guess I understand where this is coming from. And of course, we know that the way our integration happened as brands online was through a cover photo, where people had to first like the cover photo for them to be able to see what's going on my timeline. So it was more of like a private community that I would build for only those people who are interested in me or like me. And so then the number of followers was crucial and essential to all the brands, really. And it became a celebration. We celebrated the 100,000, we celebrated the million, we celebrated the 10 million, and so on and so forth. And this became the biggest matrix for us when we were entering the digital scene. But as the evolution happens and as the time goes, this has become, even Facebook has also decreased the importance of it by removing this tab of the likes or this whole big image of where you would see the followers, and it starts decreasing it and putting it into inner tabs so that it does not become as important and as relevant in the communication as the content itself. And this is where content has now become extremely crucial, to handle it as if it is a TV copy or if we're doing a big production. It's the same importance. The only difference is that this is not happening on a scale of 1 month or one burst. This is happening on a 24-hour scale throughout the whole year, every year. And so the planning part of it is very crucial and is very, very important. And also the matrix that we are analyzing with our campaigns. So now we have things like lead generation, we have conversions, we have brand awareness, we have all of these objectives that are available on Google and available on social media. They're available on mobile, which is extremely essential when we're thinking about real estate. And so these matrices and these analyzing tools and these performance-based campaigns are available, but the only thing that we need for them to be able to capture these results and for us to be able to strategize for the next year is having the content and the platforms ready to host such requirements. So talking about mobile, mobile هنا is, we cannot even begin to talk about the importance of mobile, and having the viewership of more than 80% happening on mobile. So now people are making their big decisions and they're watching their movies and they're studying their courses and they're writing their emails and they're doing their work and everything through mobile actually right now. And it's increasing, of course, more and more with the state that we are in right now. And this brings us to the crucial importance of how we would create campaigns around mobile. And around mobile means that if we're creating platforms like a website, we need to make sure that it's mobile first. And if we are creating tabs or we're creating important content on social media, we have to make sure that if this is able to be hosted on mobile or not. But the most important thing that I want to talk about is advertising. And advertising has become like the CIA style of targeting people on, you know, in Egypt or in anywhere in the world, actually. This is how mobile has now, the capacity of mobile advertising has become tremendous. Where you would be able to target people when, you know, the geofencing, when they are in specific locations, when they are in specific compounds, for example. And so if they are in your compound and there's someone who's not living there or has not had consistent behavior day on day coming in the same place, that means that this person is a visitor. And so we can create campaigns for these visitors when they're online and they're playing their games or they're on their, you know, on their net publishing sites or whatever. We'd have our campaigns specifically relevant to them, welcoming them to these homes and showing them how they can be part of this community and part of this home. If they're in different districts, for example, or if they're in a competitor's platform, also place, we can have these ads for them. We can have ads for people who we know have seen or have engaged with, you know, companies like us, and have shown some sort of interest. And these are the people that are most likely going to take an action. And so our conversion rate would then increase furthermore. Thinking about things that are very fast on mobile or even very fast in general and can host the scale and the changes of the economy that we have gotten into right now, and thinking about how we can have a more digital approach to our strategies, a more digital approach to our platforms, our centers, our sales calls can have a little, you know, change in that part, whereby I can have schedule a meeting online and we can have a Zoom call, for example. I can have my agents come to you if need be, because people are not really comfortable moving out and about and going to places. We can schedule things happening, a digital show reel or showroom, showing them around the place and going through, you know, the 3D movement around the whole compound. We can have e-signatures for people to, you know, sign in. So generally, a more technology-oriented and a more digital-oriented approach is now extremely important. We've done campaigns where we have seen how some creativity, and it's not just, you know, now available, phase 1, you know, 0 installment, or, you know, like 0 installment fees or whatever, and, you know, the number of years that you can pay in, and a nice billboard ad. This is not enough anymore. There needs to be more engagement. There needs to be more wit in the way we communicate with consumers. These are people who are coming to live in homes, and so they're thinking of their life there, and having that life there means that we need to also have this integration of what a whole life can mean. And it's not necessarily only given in a billboard. And even though it is very important, the way digital is set in is a completely different scale. So we have the different target audiences, and we have the different clusters that we need to create. The different clusters of how these audiences maybe are they the older generation with you know, older kids, or are they newlyweds? Are they kids with young toddlers? Are they just a couple, or is it one person actually living on their own? And so all of these things are different. They need to have different campaigns, different messaging. They need to have completely different captions and messages for everyone to tailor to their mindset and to their needs. And having just one ad there for the mass is no longer something that is doable on digital. You need to have more dynamic ads. You need to have more testing ads. We need to have more multifunctional and diverse ads for different audiences and different mindsets, and different seasons, different occasions, different states of mind. And here is where we really need to do the planning. Before the year starts, we'd have a big plan where we are clustering all the audiences, you know, and seeing what their mindsets might be, what they might be looking for, how we might portray our message to them in the way that they can comprehend it and really, and they're able to really consume it. How we can collaborate with different entities around us that would make this a more holistic approach to how we target consumers. And this is one of the, I think this is one of the most important things, how we plan for this online. And it's, yes, it is a very quick and it's a very dynamic approach, and the consumers are very fast paced in it. But that doesn't mean that we can really take our time in planning our year beforehand. And then as the year goes, we become as fast and as quick because we already have the deck that we need to launch with, and we have the plan that we can take this fully on board. And it's very important to really invest time and invest money and invest employees and invest teams in this to make sure that we are taking this digital space to the full potential that it can go to. Because now we can see that people are actually selling, you know, with millions and millions of pounds worth of units and villas and homes, and they're doing it through Facebook, really. And it was one of the shocking things for me to see that, you know, an 11 million pound villa is being sold on Facebook. And it is the case. You'd see that, you know, a lot of the communication that is happening online is bringing a lot of traction, is bringing a lot of sales. And it's just about how we are available and how relevant we are to the consumers at that time. And that brings me to where we have to look at the different platforms and how they're hosting people in different ways and different mindsets in that place. So let's take, for example, when we were talking about Google, let's say, Google is a very important platform to be on because people here are actively searching for something. They're actively searching for, you know, looking for homes or looking for opportunities or searching for something that they want right now. And they have come to that decision, and so they're taking action. And it's very crucial that we are part of this, because if we're not, then we're missing on the biggest portion of people who are ready to take an action right now. And so our ads there have to be available all the time throughout the whole year, and it's not on a burst basis. It's a whole year basis that's continuously and consistently moving and evolving, and there's a lot of optimization that is happening in it. On social media, Facebook and Instagram, they're completely different scales. They're completely different target audiences or completely different mindsets. When you're on Instagram, you are on like a Pinterest kind of daydream. But the difference is that it's accessible. You're seeing travel pictures. You're seeing amazing food pictures. You're seeing locations that are incredible. It's very inspirational, very motivating, very dream-like state. You can have, yes, of course, news and you can have content there, but the way people are in Instagram is completely different than the way they are on Facebook. Facebook has become more of like a news portal. It's much faster. There's content and news there that is about every single thing that you might expect or think about. And it's very fast. There's a lot of text on Facebook. There's a lot of images and videos and a variety of all all formats available on Facebook, and they're very bombarding. They're very fast. They're very quick. They're very dynamic. They change from, you know, sad to happy to excited to, you know, breaking news, and everything is happening in that space, and it becomes very cluttered. And not only very cluttered, there isn't really one specific way of doing it. There's a lot of tests and trials. And so here on Facebook, it's okay to go to the template style, to go to the filling the form style, to the video style, to the image style, to the text style, and you would change your calendar to fit everything that might be needed. And then you would see from that focus group that you have what is really clicking with consumers. On Instagram, it's different. It's very visual. It's very visual. It's very artistic. It's the captions are very witty. Yes, in all cases you need to have a very direct, very clear call to action. But the way you're portraying your brand is done in a very artistic, visual way. Whether it is through videos or it was through an image, it still has to be in that sense. You have Instagram TVs that are now very high and people are consuming it so much right now. And you can then have, you know, a tour around the place. You can have someone talk about the benefits that they might be getting through this, their experience in that place. And so you can use this Instagram TV in a different manner where it's more human and it's more alive, let's say, for example. So this is where Instagram comes into play, this aliveness and this livelihood of, you know, me sitting there and really watching a life I can have in this home. So in those ads and in those platforms, you would be able to find everything you might need. You might find a potential buyer. You might find someone who wants to be part of the team. You might find, you know, partnership opportunities. You might find business opportunities. It's for everyone. It's for employment. It's for B2B. It's for B2C. It's for every other scale that you might think about. But the most essential part of it is that when you're doing ads here and when you're targeting people here, you're not putting them in that cluster of B2B, B2C, employment, and so on and so forth. They're all human beings who are seeing your ad, and they might all come from different backgrounds that can, at the end of the day, you know, tailor or come a part of those clusters. But here, when we're talking to the whole human individual experience. And this is one of the things that, yani, we really have to focus on and plan according to that, and see how each platform is completely different. And when we come to deal with each platform, we have to really think strategically with regards to what is their mindset and what is the consumer behavior in that specific place, and how can I talk to this person in that time frame and take them out of this place and put them onto the website, or let them do an action, a lead, a conversion of whatever sort that it is that we're looking for right now. And our objective is no longer number of fans or number of followers. It is hardcore sales and conversions. Yes, sometimes we're going to need brand awareness. Sometimes we're going to need engagement, of course. But our priority would always be on those, because we are able to do this right now. And for us to be able to do this, this is, I think, the biggest part that we lack right now in the industry, is the synergy that happens between online and offline. There isn't that correlation that is happening. It's you know, you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, and we don't meet at any point. The CRM systems, you know, where we can take information from each other and fill it out and report to each other, this is not done in the potential it can be done in, you know, in the capacity that it can take. And so if I would advise you, I would really advise that we would have the offline and online become a very important communication, have a very important communication, you know, channel between them. And everything that is happening online is laid back to the offline, and so on and so forth. And so when there is this action that happens, changes and analysis can happen, and incredible results can occur from that, because the online advertiser can understand what is going on offline, and they can measure according to that their work and work according to enhancing what's happening offline. And the person offline can understand the kind of messages that they're going forward with, and seeing the comments that are happening online, and seeing what people are asking for and the way they're communicating. And it would help them a lot in their sales and in their sales pitches. And they can help them with the target audience as well, to understand in reality, in real life, how is this target audience that you've gotten online like? Is it matching my clientele? Is it matching the audience that we're looking for in our community? and the ability to invest and so on and so forth. So this synergy is very important. Another synergy is also extremely important, and that is the different agencies working together. And the media planner, for example, is not only a person who's taking ads and they're just planning, putting a media plan and executing. This person is can give you so much insights about the consumer behavior, can give you so much insight about what sort of content you should be working with based on what they're seeing in their campaigns. They can tell you the seasons, they can tell you the timeframes that you're in right now, if there's a high bidding or high competition, and how you can tackle that. And so they become a part of your, they become like a strategic planner. The same way that, if you're dealing with other agencies and you're dealing with more production related companies, they work hand in hand. The same thing with social media. These are your focus groups and these are your researchers. And they're people who are talking every day to your consumer, and they're seeing how they're engaging and they're seeing how they're acting. And so this is someone that essentially needs to be in direct communication with you all the time, and you're seeing what is happening with them. And because that is the case, they also need to be very much involved in your production, in your campaigns, in your mood boards, in your storylines, in everything that you're doing from a creative sense. They need to be part of that, whichever way it is, if it's a TVC, if it's an offline, campaign, if it's an on-ground campaign, if you're doing something offline and you want the coverage happening there. All the companies have to be communicating together and have to have a say. And I would urge that people would sit together in a brainstorming session and just bounce off ideas off of each other and hear out each other's, what they have in their minds and what they're thinking about and how they're strategizing for the brand or for the company, because you might find incredible things that can happen from that. You definitely find incredible things that will come out of that, because as I said, everything is now become very individualistic. Even the platforms are very individual, even though they might be under the umbrella of social media or under the umbrella of digital advertising. They're still very different in the way you deal with them. And so when you have all of these teams together, there is that synergy, there is that plan prior to the year, and then as you go into the year, you're as dynamic and as quick and as savvy as the consumers are. You will be able to find incredible results that happen, whether it was lead generation or if it was an actual conversion to sales. And thank you very much for this. It was very exciting. I hope that this would have shed some light and some recommendations of what you can do forward. All right.
Thank you, Ahdab, for your eye-opening content about digital media. We really enjoyed your session so much. Thank you.
A gate is all that separates the everyday from the exceptional, the regular from the refined, the out of the way from the central, the ordinary from the beautiful, the uninspired from the uplifting, at Cairo Gate, boutique lifestyle living is just a gateway away. Cairo Gate, a lifestyle as unique as your signature.
stories were born here. Stories that breathe soul into your most treasured places. So, if you're about to write your own story, find a place where inspiration comes in waves and absolute clarity exists. Find a place where you can lose yourself and find yourself at the same time. A whole other story.
We hope you enjoyed the day and found the content of value and inspiring. And finally, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Amor, New Giza, Durra, Sadiq, Merekez, Inertia, Mamar Mushidi, Orientals for Urban Development, Jubail, and conference partner, The Works for Events. Thank you guys and see you tomorrow at 11. Bye.